Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426, and today we have the review of the 5-2 Toys Beastbox number 34, the Soul Tornado and Shadow Dance set. Now, I have been waiting for this set for a long time, ever since they revealed this on their Wonderfest. Now, technically, this is basically a combiner, but it's a combiner, but you cannot actually finish the combination with this set. You need to, if you want to complete the set really fast, you could buy 2 of this set, but they also did mention that they're going to release another version of this, basically another color variant, so you could have 2 sets and then finish the combination of the intended purpose. So I would like to mention that this review will be a part 2 review because there are 2 Beastbox in this set, and each of them are very different in terms of designs, and they do transform into a different position of the combiner. So yeah, so one of them is named Soul Tornado, and then the other guy is named Shadow Dance. Alright, so before we go on to the review, let's go over some components first, and then let's look at the box, and then we'll go on to the individual ones. Alright, so let me just move him to the side, and let's see what we got. So in terms of the components, first of all, what you get, of course, is obviously the box, obviously, if you bought the product. And then we get 2 box chargers. The box chargers are basically these plastic cases of boxes that you can actually store the Beastbox inside here in their cube form. This is very cool, and then once again, you can actually stack these up from bottom to top or side to side like that. This is basically one of the best ways to store or display one of your products like this without collecting dust. Of course, the product itself won't collect dust, but the case will collect dust, so just saying, but still very good. And then obviously, as usual, we still get your catalog, and then you get a PVC card and then a instruction manual for the PVC card. Basically, these PVC cards, as I mentioned before, you fold these in half and put it inside the box so that when you put the product inside, it will push out the Beastbox right off the bat when you open the case. But once again, I usually don't use these because it just looks a little bit messy. And once again, there's nothing too different for the catalog. It's just your typical catalog for the series. And then, of course, we also get this. Of course, I'm assuming that there were some people who got this way earlier and they had some issues with this product where they might have broken something while turning the transformation. So, yeah, just be careful when you're transforming. Just make sure everything is loose, or everything is like supposed to be detached and etc., so you don't actually break anything. And because there are 2 Beastboxes, there are 2 cards. Of course, if there's a little bit different from the usual is that these things don't have any numbers on them, because I guess they would technically be the same number, but once again, since they are sold as a set, I guess they didn't want to confuse people. And here, each of them have their own stats. Let's get Soul Tornado first. So the Soul Tornado is the one that looks a little bit more bulky, and I believe he is the main chest / head of the combiner. So if you want to read the description on the card, do pause and check it out. And then his stats, he does have low speed, low intelligence. That's not really a good combination, but still okay. And then here we have the Shadow Dance. Now this guy, I believe, composed the arms, each arm. So basically, he can turn into either a left arm or right arm. So if you want to complete, you're gonna have to need another one of these guys. So looking at the back, once again, we have the stats, and if you want to read the description, do pause. And looking at his stats, he has very nice, high courage, speed, and intelligence, and defense is pretty decent. The only thing he's lacking is strength. So I think it is kind of balanced. Alright, so now before we go on to the review, the main reason why I wanted to mention the box is that on the side, if you're not sure who is who, you can always check the cards, or if you want to look at the side of the box, that you mention who is Shadow Dance and who is Soul Tornado. But on the back of the box is the part I want to focus. This is what it looks like when you finish the combined form. Its name is Primatus. I hope that's the way how you pronounce it, but still very looking cool. Of course, the only part I don't like would be the head design, or face, but oh well, I get what I get. And according to my seller, who does also these online streamings time to time, is that this person, the engineering designer named Alex Kubalski, used to be, according to his intel, is that this person is also a person who used to design Transformers toys from Hasbro. So that's kind of interesting if it is true. Alright, so we gotta look at the box. Now let's look at the product. So this is the part 1 version, so we're going to be looking at, let's get Shadow Dance first, because Shadow Dance is basically the arm, and I believe that's a pretty good start. Alright, so looking at Shadow Dance, he is the one with the fingers. So you can kind of see the fingers right over here, so right off the bat. Let's see what we got. So on the box, so once again, when you open the box, it's obviously the product is going to be like this, so you need to pull it out. So there are these a little bit extra tabs where you can reach into the product, but sometimes if you don't do the transformation correctly, it can actually get stuck in there. It's going to be like a very stiff connection, or it won't slide in smoothly. So which is why the PVC cards helps you time to time, but still I really didn't have too much issues. But once again, here is a box. I believe you are able to purchase these separately, but that would depend on who you're buying it from, or the vendor, or your country location. Alright, so here we have the box. They did a really good job on the compact look, and definitely these fingers kind of give it away on what this transforms into, but still very compact. And they did a really good job with the tail, making it looking like this, or folding it up. So once again, I'm not going to show you guys the transformation process because that would take way too long for the video, so I'll be right back with its transformation of the monkey first, not the arm. Okay, I'm back. So here is the monkey mode of the Shadow Dance. So the transformation was pretty straightforward. It's a very simple process, not too complicated, not too many moving parts. Well, because obviously when it comes to transformation, if there are just so many moving parts, it becomes messy, but this one doesn't really have that. So there are, as much as I do like the concept of this, of being a monkey, the only part I don't like is that I can kind of forgive the hands. One area is like, you know, empty on the inside while the other isn't, which means this is kind of the other way around. So but I really don't like the feet on this one. It's a very small surface area, and there's no really pivot joints. There's no ankle pivot, so it does. But of course, it's not as hard to balance, because not only does you don't only just use the feet, but the tail also works as a very great balance. So I'm not sure if this was intentional, but if it was, that's genius. Alright, so now let's look at the articulation first. So you can definitely see these are the fingers of for the combiner. Now looking at the head, definitely I think it does definitely look like a monkey. Of course, a very aggressive or kind of angry monkey, or it could be just the design or the mouse piece that looks like that. But yeah, they did a pretty good job, and I believe on the inside, or the way how I understood with certain Beastbox, is that this is not exactly this single area on the eyes or a clear piece. It's just this entire thing is a clear piece where it's just, you know, only these areas are colored. So it could be that way, but I'm not gonna test it out on this one. So it can go down that much, up that much, and then 360 should be possible, because it does seem like it's on a ball joint. So yeah. Now the arms are kind of interesting. So you are able to do the 360 basic movement going on here. It can go to the side about 90 degrees, or even go slightly higher like that. But of course, this part is kind of very stiff at the moment. So I'm actually thinking of, you know, since there is a screw here, I might actually it seems a little bit tight, so I might need to loosen that up a little bit just to make sure nothing breaks here. Now it doesn't actually have any forward and backward shoulder movement, but because due to the transformation, you have to put this peg on here to lock this part into place. But if you don't care for about that, you do kind of have like a forward and backward movement on the shoulders, but of course it may just not look right to some degree. Now the arms are pretty good. As you can see, 360 twist is possible, and then you can bend the arms a lot. Of course, this is technically for the transformation, and you have a nice rotation, another 360 rotation on the lower arm, and you can even fold it to the back. You can fold this way as well, so it won't go as far as that, but yeah, kind of an interesting way of looking at it. Now looking at the main body, and obviously the hand does not have any articulation of a rotating mechanism. It can go only up and down, because once again, folding gimmick. Now you can move the body 360 if you want to do so, like that. Now when you're moving the body, make sure it's definitely going to move these fingers all around the place. So that's just one part, because these ones don't really lock into anywhere. So yeah. Yeah, at the moment you don't have a really ab crunch, but you can kind of force an ab crunch, but once again, that's not really meant to happen. So due to because it's more of a transformation gimmick, so I'm not going to try that. And then the legs seems to be on a very huge ball joint right over here, so 360 should be possible. Going to the side 90 degrees is possible, and then a nice bend is also possible as well. And finally, the feet, well, not exactly finally, the feet can go up and down. There's no pivot, or so it can't really rotate or anything like that. Now the lower leg can rotate. There is a part where it rotates, but this is mostly for the transformation, so yeah. And then finally, looking at the tail is pretty articulated, so you have multiple joints here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish joints going on here, so you can move the tail up and down like that, and then you can move another midpoint there up and down, and then you can move this side to side to left and right. So this is the main part that allows you to do this, and to this other part as well. And then you can rotate the tail 360 from this point, and then once again side to side, side to side, and side to side. Yeah. So once again, you don't certain Beastbox have, like, sometimes you can see weapons, but this one doesn't really. I'm not seeing any much of a weapon, unless this tail is a weapon, because I believe it was the card or something like that. It showed like a reference of like some sort of electrical current going on the tail, so it could be that. Alright, so now we've seen the basics of the monkey, and as you can see, obviously posing is really up to you, but you are able to make him stand straight if you want to do so. Of course, if you're having trouble, you can always use the tail as like a extra support, which actually does help time to time. Alright, so now we've seen the basics of the monkey. We'll be right back with its arm form for the combiner. Whoops. Okay, I'm back. So here is the arm form. So it goes from the monkey to the arm form, not from the box to the arm. So keep that in mind, because when it comes to these combiners, as far as I know, even in Transformers, I believe it really depends. It's a very crucial thing on whether do you start from the robot mode or from the vehicle mode when you do the combining performance. So that's very important to know. So this one, you start from the monkey form into the hand form or arm form. So yeah, definitely much larger than I thought. So I also brought out Lambreaker, which is technically one of the more larger Mega Box line of 5.2 toys out there now, because this guy is also a combiner, but you only combine 2 of them. Which is why he's kind of on the tall side. You can see he's pretty much, height-wise, he's pretty much the same as the Lambreaker. So yeah. Now, the first thing I wanted to know when I first saw this is that, can I take off the arm and then combine it with Lambreaker? And the answer is sadly no, because it's the opposite way. But seemingly that it's almost the same peg size, so if I could find some sort of adapter here, that could be possible. Or yeah. Or if I find like a way to attach like a connecting joint port here, that would be great. So sadly that's a no-go, but still I could have hoped. Anyway, here is the arm, definitely looking big, and it does actually have some decent articulation as well. So number one, despite looking how huge it is, it actually has a bending point here, so you are able to bend the arm a little bit, and then you do have a rotation on the lower section here. That's very nice. And wrist, you don't really have much of a wrist articulation, but you do have the hands, individual fingers and hands, and that can move on their own. So this really looks cool if you ask me. Alright, so now since we've seen the arm here, now it's time we're going to go with part 2 now and see what we got with the other guy, who is named, I keep forgetting it, his name should be Soul Tornado. So on part 2 we'll be looking at Soul Tornado, so as usual from box to the monkey form, and then monkey form to the body. So I'll be right back.